Hello, Geneva, and welcome to Officially Speaking. I'm your host, Kevin Starr. Each month, we sit down with our local elected officials or appointed board members, get the latest with your city government. Today, we're joined by Strategic Plan Advisory Committee Chairman Mark Brault. Mark, thanks for joining us. And can you start off the show by telling our audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure, appreciate that. So I've lived in Geneva now for about 9 years. Lived in a variety of places around the country, and we had the opportunity to move to Geneva. I was really impressed as we drove around a lot of the neighboring cities, and what really drew me into the city was the charm of the city, the historic nature of the city, and so I kind of felt like at that point I wanted to kind of give back to the city and be a part of this, as so many of the people in this community are involved. I was looking for a way to kind of get involved into the city and keep it the way it is.
And we are quite familiar with the role that SPAC plays here at City Hall, but for those viewers that are not quite as familiar with what your committee does, can you give us a little bit of background?
Sure. And SPAC is the acronym for the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee. And like the name implies, we are advisors to the city staff with respect to the strategic plan. We are kind of the caretakers for the strategic plan. We work with city council, we work with city staff, and basically we are a 9-member group appointed by the mayor to serve 3-year terms. We are representative of all 5 wards in the city, so we've got a really diverse group in that respect. The other part of what we do is being a conduit for the residents and the citizens of Geneva, to have them bring concerns, issues, thoughts, feedback to us so that we can then incorporate that into the strategic plan.
So again, providing a little bit more background, can you tell us a little bit more about the history of strategic planning in Geneva?
Yeah, so it's been a long process. Actually, the city started the strategic planning process back in 1996. As you may or may not know, there are a lot of cities that don't even have this process. So it's a really great thing that our leaders back then had the foresight to put this together. And out of that process in 1999, the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee was then formed. The planning process with that, we updated the plan in 2007, and once again we updated that plan in 2014.
So it seems like strategic planning is always taking place in one way, shape, or form. Can you tell us where you're at with our most current version of the plan?
Right, so we updated the plan. We went through what we would call a major rewrite of the plan. It was more consolidating of the goals that were out there and making it a more user-friendly document so that when city staff and all of the aldermen were looking at it, that they could see all these goals and take out the redundancy that was in there, and really have a good document to whereby they can, when they go to the November planning process, can have a good effect there. Where we're at now with that, we're in a good place. Where we're at is that now we have, with the blessing of the City Council, a complete rewrite, update again of the plan. So again, where we did in 2007, again in 2014, here we are now this year, starting, I wouldn't say from scratch, because we've got a lot of work that's already been done, but we're going to put it together in a more concise, friendly document that is a lot more goal specific.
And I'm sure there are some that think that, well, plans always look good on paper, but how does the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee assist the city in making those plans a reality?
Right, that's the whole goal. So we as the caretakers, quite frankly, a lot of what we're doing is we're kind of doing the planning, and then the heavy lifting of it becomes part of the city staff and city in general. So what we do is we work throughout the year to work through the goals, refine the goals, and then in November during our planning process, that's when we sit down with city staff, myself, and all the aldermen, and go through all the goals that we have, both long-term goals and short-term goals, and basically look at that and say, how much money do we have? We can't accomplish all the goals because there's not that much money. Sometimes there's more money than other times. So as we sit down and look at that, we prioritize all the goals, and then it becomes out of that meeting, we put money towards accomplishing those goals. So that's really when the rubber meets the road, is when we do all the planning, all the thinking, all the tinkering, and then we sit down in the room, and then the city staff and the aldermen kind of hash it out and decide what they want to do, and the city staff implements it.
Each year, the committee conducts a town hall meeting. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and what that entails?
Yes, that's great. The big part of what we do at the annual town hall meeting is, as we talked about, getting the feedback from the citizens and the residents. Some of that you're talking with people through your course of daily events, but this is a more formalized process where we invite people. We invite them in here to City Hall, and we've had it in other places as well. But the idea is to invite citizens to come in and voice their feedback on what they think is important, both short term and also long term. And we've been quite surprised, really, over the years of as much time as we've put into what we thought were important, that wasn't necessarily what everyone thought. And depending on where you live, west side of town, east side of town, downtown, you're older, you're younger, people have different concerns. And without bringing that to the forefront, we need, that we need to be a part of the process, so we know as things change, as things evolve, the strategic plan has to be updated and adapt to the changing environment, whether it's technology, whether it's the population, whether it's budget concerns. Things change, and the plan has to do that. And one of the ways we get through that feedback is from the town hall meeting.
And some people might not realize, but SPAC actually has 3 subcommittees that help set the vision and do certain projects within the city. Can you share a little bit about those groups?
Sure. That's a big part of what SPAC does through the subcommittees. First, we have the Natural Resource Committee, we have the International Culture Exchange Committee, and we have the Student Government. So the Natural Resource Committee has done a fantastic job. First of all, they've got the Wine, Cheese, and Trees fundraiser that raised a lot of money, which is basically helping with the reforestation of Geneva. We've had the Emerald Ash Borer. I'm sure as anybody that lives around here is very familiar with what's happened there. A lot of money is coming back through that fundraiser. These are all citizen volunteers. They've also, along those same lines, they've done the Fabian Forest, park forestation project, where they're basically going back through and taking out the invasive species. It's the white oak, the state tree of Geneva, is predominant over there, and they're trying to protect that. So it's all citizens showing up and helping out. That's another thing that they do. They also have Earth Day in April, which just passed. So that's a big part of what the Natural Resource Committee does. International Culture Exchange Committee is about fostering international cultural exchange, and we have a sister city, Croissy-sur-Seine in France, just north of Paris, and it's a pretty exciting thing. Delegations have come here, and we've gone there. I myself have gone there as well, and it's a pretty neat thing. This year, there are 7 couples from the ICEC, the acronym for International Culture Exchange Committee, are headed over there this month. So that's another great thing where they're doing. They had the photo exhibit, the Water Street Studio, whereby citizens were taking photographs, not professional photographers even, and putting them on display and selling them for charity, etc. So it was a really, really cool thing. And it just adds to the culture of our city.
And then finally, student government, I think you were going to allude to.
Student government, yeah, great. We love the student government. We're actively looking right now for a representative for that as a student, but they are a voting member on our board. And that brings a very unique perspective to our group. Not only are we represented by all the wards, we also have a student government representative. So we really enjoy having a young person's perspective, and what's that person feel like in the city of Geneva? What did they see? What filters do they go through? It's also a little bit about civics, about teaching civics on how things work. So we have a lot of exchange with the student government, and we have a mock city council that goes on as well, which kind of shows them how the city works, and it gives young kids an opportunity to make a difference, to get involved at a very young age in their city and not really stand by, but understand they can be a part of this process too.
And for those that are looking to get involved with SPAC or maybe attend one of your board meetings, where can they find more information?
So as far as SPAC and the subcommittees, all of it are on the website, which is a fantastic website. geneva.il.us. And our information, all of our contact information, all the officers' information, email, etc., for SPAC is there, as well as our subcommittees are all there. I would encourage anybody who is interested in volunteering, even if you don't want to be on the committee, you don't have that kind of time to devote. Folks like the NRC are always looking for volunteers to come out and help them with their river cleanup, with the Fabian Project, with Earth Day. They're constantly looking for volunteers, and it's a great place to be and a great project to work on. So go to the website; it's all there. You can get anything you need out of it, and that's all the information you'll need to be a part of this.
And when are your monthly meetings held?
Our monthly meetings are held monthly on the third Wednesday of every month, right here in City Hall, usually around 6 o'clock. All of the agendas and the meeting times are posted several days in advance. The public is, of course, welcome to attend, and we thoroughly enjoy when they do, and I think the people that attend get a great deal out of it. So we would also, whether it's NRC, whether it's ICEC, whether it's SPAC, or really, quite frankly, any other meetings that are posted out there, get involved, know what's going on in your community.
That is all the time we have for Officially Speaking. I'd like to thank Mark for his time and insight into our Strategic Plan Advisory Committee.
Thanks again for having me. I really enjoyed it.
We also thank you for watching. We hope to tune in again next month to the official word from your city government.